Hi everyone, welcome back to another one of my vlogs. So today what I'm going to talk to you about is speech output. And what I mean by speech output is when a person with a disability is utilising a speech generated device or an app for the purposes of communication. Sometimes there is a feature called speech output. So what that means is when a person selects an item on their device, that the verbalization of that item is then produced immediately upon selection by the person. So a lot of apps have the feature as to whether you can turn it on or turn it off. And that's a very individualized choice as well. It's one of the main things that I would assess during my time with a person before I make recommendations in relation to their communication needs. For some people, the speech output can be quite distracting and overwhelming. However, for other people, it can be of great assistance to them in relation to their vocabulary development. So there are a lot of myths out there in relation to utilising the speech output feature within a device or within an app. A lot of people think that utilising the speech output will actually hinder a person's progress in relation to their own development of speech. People also think that the person may get lazy and that they will be unmotivated or demotivated to engage in that verbalization of vocabulary. However, evidence is actually showing that this is in fact the complete opposite. For the majority of people, the use of speech output actually aids their development, and it is a motivator for the development of their own verbalization and speech output. So I suppose that can be attributed to the fact that the mobile device or the device that they're using is so consistent. So as humans, when a person communicates to us through visuals, we often forget to repeat the word to them. So for example, if somebody gives you a picture of a chocolate bar, and that's the item that they're requesting, as a person, sometimes we may say chocolate, or other times we just give them the chocolate. And we forget to label that verbally from their perspective. So for a person, particularly a person with autism, human interaction is very inconsistent. However, when you utilize a device like that, the response is the same all of the time. They're hearing the same voice at the same time after they have pressed that symbol and indicated their needs or wants, or their comments or questioning as well. So the device, that's a huge benefit to utilising a mobile device and an app, is the consistency in its behaviour for the person. So as a result of the person hearing that word being repeated, they tend to start attempting to verbalise, or they are successful in the verbalisation of that given word. So again, there are a lot of myths around speech output. However, as I've mentioned, it is a very individualised approach. For some people, it may be very distracting, and it may actually be used as a sensory stimulus as opposed to engaging in communication. So for some people, a book may be very motivating. So they may sit in their chair and just continuously press the symbol book, because they're getting a reinforcer from the verbalization and the speech output coming from that. However, they may not be particularly communicating with someone, and that's just a sensory stimulus for them. So that's a whole other issue that I would support people through in relation to phasing out that behaviour. So there are pros and cons to utilising speech output, But just to debunk that myth that it hinders a person's speech development, that's actually not true at all. It actually aids it. So if you're concerned about that, please don't be. It is a support to a person as opposed to demotivating them to verbally communicate. And that would all be part of a mobile device and app assessment prior to the implementation of any intervention with the person. So if you have any more questions on speech output or anything in relation to mobile devices and apps with people with disabilities for the purposes of communication, education, life skills, social skills, employment, anything like that, you can contact me via the website www.aactechconsultancy.com, or you can email me on miriam@aactechconsultancy.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.